So we're not gonna have an audience.
I know, I get one of you.
No.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, please, if I could. Could have a roll call, start to my left.
Mike Romack.
Tim Pritchard.
George Gaspervik.
Scott Hyatt.
Okay, is that everybody? It's
That's everybody, right?
all
Yeah,
right.
Sloan did not, cannot attend tonight.
Oath for new members, was that just performed?
Yes, we're done with that.
Okay, election of officers. Is that, president, vice, and secretary?
Yep.
Is there a current president?
No, if you could just
Sure.
open up, since you're temporary, just open up.
I'll open up nominations for president.
Mr. Pritchard.
Second.
That did take where the phone.
See the trade come up?
Okay, do I hear any other nominations?
Move closed.
Second.
I close.
Wrong stay here.
What, can I ask the attorney something? He's already the president of the planning commission. Can he serve too?
Yeah, I don't think there's
Okay.
any problem. No, it's around two votes.
I tried to.
Get double pay. Get double my pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. No money.
Okay, all those in favor of electing Tim Pritchard president, please say aye. Those opposed? Election or nominations for vice president.
I nominate George.
George, do I have a second for George?
I'll second that.
Have a nomination, a second for George for vice president. All those in favor of George for vice president, please say aye. Aye, those opposed? Open up nomination for secretary.
I nominate Scott. Aye.
Scott Hyatt for secretary. Do I have a second? I'll second that. Motion is second. All those in favor for Scott to be secretary, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Good. Board members are in place.
Now, President, may I be excused?
No.
I haven't.
You're here
You
tonight.
still have a quorum.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Who's the fifth member? I forget.
Sloan, I can't think of his last name at the moment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, him.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Who is it next?
Sloan.
Sloan,
He was on a different, he was on a different.
appointed a year ago.
It's only 5 members. We got 3. We're okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Assume there's some minutes somewhere from a previous meeting. Could ask members that are present to review those and then make a motion to accept.
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Second, I have a motion, a second. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? No old business, new business. 3-inch and 4-inch water service line feed.
It's actually two things. We're gonna look at tap and cap. So if we could open those up, Denise, the
Tap.
two ordinance, whichever one.
Okay.
We'll start with capacity fee. So, we have two fees that are sort of similar to. They're similar, capacity fee and system development fee. Capacity fee is basically allowing somebody to buy into the system because previous members of the system have already built that system up over time. And so it's looking at going backwards. System development fee is what are we gonna have to add to the system because of development. And the system development fee is more for commercial and development. So I think it's only for a development of 4 or more. Capacity fee is for a single residence or commercial, let's say. And then, so it's, we're moving it just based on inflation, because it's been, I forget what year it is, but it's been several years enough that if you factored in 3%, it nearly doubles it. So we're moving it to 2,000, and that would be for a residence or equivalent dwelling unit. And then commercial will be based on EDUs, as for the most part, we'll use what Fall Creek Regional Waste does. They'll calculate the EDU. In other words, how much water do they use? And then we'll go with that. There is another ordinance that the default is For lack of that, the default is 250 gallons per day average.
Scott, back up, what EDU stands for?
Equivalent dwelling unit. So if you had, so a home will use 250, 350 gallons per day is the planning, what you plan for on a home. So if you got a business that comes in and they're gonna use 1,000 gallons, then they would be an EDU equivalent to 3 or 4 homes. Right? So, so it's pretty simple. We're just trying to keep up with inflation.
So Scott, you're looking for a motion to,
Yeah, motion to, you could either, you're voting to either move it forward to the town council, do nothing, sort of like planning commission, Tim, or to, you don't recommend it. That doesn't mean the town council can't act on it. And we did present this to Waterworks. I did vote for this in the tap fee, favorably, so.
Fall Creek is 3,500, by the way,
Per EDU.
per DED. We have a 3-year. Go back, what do they call that?
Oh, yeah, so you can go
We
back.
go back and look at it, make sure it's correct.
Right, so if they come to us and,
That's
And
not
Fall Creek
particularly
is-
for a home, be more for a restaurant
Commercial.
or something that's going, you
right,
go back and they're using 10,000 gallons of water a day. then-
yep, we could correct for it.
So we have an ordinance number? Yeah,
No, not yet, they'll have it for tomorrow.
they're gonna have an ordinance number?
Yeah,
Another ignorant question.
sure.
How do you identify she's using too much water versus you?
So our water bill,
Through the water bills?
Yeah.
Monitor that. Okay.
I think it's a very reasonable capacity fee. I mean, I think it's probably long overdue. I'm just guessing, I'm new here, but
yeah,
I would,
well, yeah. They're here, they're in too.
so, I mean, I don't know.
No, it's right in line with, that's in cheaper than Fall Creek. so. One.
What were you gonna say, Scott? You were gonna say?
No, I think, again, you're
It's-
looking for,
This was purely based on inflation.
yeah,
from the
right,
old
no, I mean, I'm not trying to, what I was gonna say is I would make a motion that the Utility Rate Advisory Board recommends increasing the capacity fee to $2,000 to the town council.
I just have one question, when are you gonna put it in effect?
I think it's up to the town council. They'll
They'll
probably
make that.
do 2 readings. The first one will be tomorrow. Well, does this one, because it goes to these guys first? it's
They'll
on-
have to do 2 readings.
They'll have to still do 2. Sometimes some things, if it,
So.
if it was planning commission, it would count as one.
Hunsinger Farms going forward will pay too.
Um. Yes,
Hunsinger
I-
Farm.
on the new,
Jim, what was your question? I'm sorry.
on that one law that we're dealing with on the impact fee
Um,
suit.
We got subdivision, Hunsinger Farms behind the old song, okay, it's still building, they've been building for 2 years.
I see what your
Paying
question.
one now, so
This
they
would
don't
be
want
kind of-
paying 2.
This, because this is a fee, if it was a permit, it would have to wait a
I
certain
think
amount of time.
utility fees are.
Utility fees are exempt from
Administrative
this
fees.
certain law that,
Good.
that's a good question. It's a question of the day. It was the,
It is a good question because you've got a developer that sold lots based on a certain assumption.
Well, then they could have sold a house today, or they could have sold a house in March and won't break ground till, June 1st or whatever.
yeah, we'll check with Jeff on that before we actually change it, but I think it has to do with permit fees, not utility fees. I think it's clearly stated that utilities are exempt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from the case law I've read, utilities, at the time of permit are exempt from
That's fine, so they're trying to prevent it.
other.
No, I'm glad you brought it up because
Yeah, good question.
it's, yeah. There's a big dispute whether the impact fee.
Right. Okay, I have a motion from Scott to accept the increase from $1,000 to $2,000. That's submitted, I'll second that. All those in favor of this ordinance, as submitted, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay. So the other one is the
The other, next one is more based on reality and the cost of
tap fee.
equipment. So this is the tap fee, this is the cost, what it takes to tap into the main, put in the meter. And run the line between the main to the meter. So 5/8 to 3/4, that's a residential. 1 inch, you're getting into probably a commercial restaurant maybe. Then the 2, 4, and 6, we just decided to go at whatever our hourly labor rates are, because these are getting into more sophisticated situations, and sometimes we don't know what we're getting into and what's required. So it's, our normal billing is material plus 15%, that's our standard. And then the labor rates per our hourly labor rate, charges ordinance, which is updated once every year, or every 2 years.
Tell me again, Scott, when's the last time these were adjusted?
These are,
And just roughly, I mean, not last year.
oh, no,
I mean,
we're
a long
talking
time ago.
more than 10 years.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, more than 10 years. I'm thinking one was 08. I've got that in my mind on one of them.
That's, you give me. what I'm
Right.
looking for.
Yeah. They're way over.
George, you got any questions?
I think the old was 1,500 and that one was probably 2,500. Somewhere in there.
Well, the way everything else increased, it's probably still cheap.
It's still,
What our transformers go from 1 to 11?
If you can get them.
if you get it. There's a black market now. No, I'm just kidding. Feels like it.
Okay. Hearing no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to accept the water tap increase in fees as submitted.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Scott. Second?
So,
Second. All those in favor of water tap fees as submitted, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you.
You know what, just, if we could, Mr. Chair, could we go back? Can you pull up the slides from, was it the PER that showed what the rate would be? From what was the name, Darren?
Yeah, Darren Wells.
Earlier, we had a presentation, this, you're the third meeting this evening, from Commonwealth, who did a PER, preliminary engineering report, on what it looks like we're gonna need for water going forward. And if you could go to the table that showed the 60, what the recommended projects were, and then the slide that shows if we bonded that, what it would do to our rates. Not that we're proposing this yet, and I'm digesting this myself, but basically they're saying, well, first of all, we're gonna have to probably replace quite a few of our lines. One of the reasons is we're now, one of the projects is we're by state and federal law, we've got to look for our lead lines that are made of lead, both on the homeowner's side of the meter and on our side of the meter. And if you look at, do you know where the slide is that has the recommended projects? Cause that's what the $69 one is. I don't remember where.
The 69.
It's the slides that he presented. It might not be. Yeah, so it's his present. Yeah, the PowerPoint slides. There we go. Okay. Let's go through that real quick. Get a chance to look. It's at the end. I remember she summed it up. That's the table, but if you could go to the recommended projects. Actually, Wasn't that what Treanne gave?
Entry.
This,
So this is the projects outlined in the PER, the 13 million.
okay,
and then
yeah,
the
okay,
trans-
yep, you're right. There it is, right in front of me.
252.
This is the right slide. Okay, so there's several things we need to probably
Oh,
do.
sorry, trying to maximize it, make it bigger, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So, certain water mains are projected to be expiring or just, they're on their last leg. And then replace 50% of the lead service lines. Right now, we're still trying to find where they are. No real definitive. In fact, I don't think we found one yet, have we? Based on the survey?
There's 4 potentially unknown as far as the age of the home, but they're going
Yeah.
to inspect and take a
Yeah.
look at it.
So just some maintenance repairs to our water tanks. We need to do some work probably at water treatment plant number 1 to separate chlorine and fluoride. And then our backwash is not working well at, plant number 2, we probably need to rehab that. But if you bring just those projects together, with contingencies and soft costs, we're at 13 million. And then Denise, if you could just go to the slide. So if we were to bond that, I think that was, option 1 is if we got 100% loan, low interest rate. It would put us at 70 from an average right now at $39 and $40 a customer, it would bring our, that would cover that bond would require an increased rate to 73.46. If we got some sort of grant, it'd bring it down to $62. Nothing to worry about, just to give you a heads up. Probably some major construction is coming along the line. They're also recommending in the next that we get serious about adding a 3rd water tank. The other big, and that's not included in this, then the other big is, we're good till about 20,000, population of 20,000, then we need to double the plant, new water treatment plant on 900 South, but that is designed to have a mirror image, second half built. I believe there's a couple wells, there's 3 wells we're using now, and I think there's 1 or 2 more, but they're capped, we're not even using.
Can they bore those lines, Scott, like we've been doing the gas lines, we gotta excavate everything?
Before I was here.
No, we'll replace.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. It all depends what we got. One of the things if we do this, we'll do it in a smart way. We'll plan road reconstruction with it.
Yeah.
So, that way we can use community crossing money. 'Cause you're gonna be ripping up the street. You have to go in, put in new curbs and sidewalks, and of course you'll have to repave. And that's when we'll do it. We had a golden opportunity when they replaced all the storm lines. But the town didn't jump at that. That would have been 10 cents on the dollar. They used crying over spilled milk.
Denise, you got a comment?
I was just saying, you were asking, can you bore versus excavate and remove? I think the
Oh, for the lead
EPA is
lines.
wanting them to be removed.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I'm sorry. I thought you just meant the general lines. No, the lead lines have got to come out. In fact, one of the problems is Galvin taught us this, David Galvin. He used to be in a city administration, and one of the problems is when you start hitting these lead lines, they start releasing lead. So
Internally.
that's not the way to go. It's the way to go is just pull them out.
Yeah.
They're real low. If we've got them, they're real low anyway.
So that's that's hard about these projects, right? It's 13.2 million. It's not, maybe part of it is increasing capacity, but it's not really gaining any new customers. It's kind of on the ratepayers that you have. And engineers always are a little heavy on contingency. We know that, I guess, right? They're doing like that. So it may be a little better than that, but there's a town, and I'm gonna learn a lot more than I'm gonna.
This is all new board, by the way. So you're
Okay.
not-
So is SRF the
Yeah.
funding source? Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's the best you can hope for from an interest rate standpoint in terms.
Yeah, I think, over time, growth will help pay.
Right. Yeah.
Usually if you've got a good story, that's all right, that'll do.
Yeah, we've been serious. I think this lead service line, it's an unfunded mandate, they'll give you a loan, but they're not gonna fund it. So we're lucky, we're healthier than most towns. But most of them can't even begin to do this. One, they don't have the sophistication. Number two, they don't have the funding. And so there's gonna have to be legislation that moves this forward, because too many, they have this mandate and it's just not feasible. So I've been through, experienced that, couple of different subjects. So my strategy is to get everything in place that they say you need to have done by a certain date, short of spending the big bucks. Like spending small bucks on studies and stuff like that, so that we're aggressive and ahead of 90% of the small towns. So that when we get in line for the money, we could show that we're proactive, being aggressive. But yet I'm gonna hold short on spending the big bucks until I'm sure the legislation is settled down. Cause they gotta bring something on. There's just giving small towns the money.
So that 13.2 million, a lot of it is that remediation of what you anticipate coming as far as.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you said maybe not water tower went in there, but maybe some increased capacity and.
Yeah, if you could go back to the earlier slides, I think you had the recommended projects. I mean, let's just go from the beginning. Let's just look through this. I thought this was interesting and relevant to what you guys do. Yeah, keep going.
And the sections of the PPR.
Yeah, keep going. What is this? What's this first one? Yeah, click on that.
Kind of what
Growth
growth projection.
Yeah, growth projections. Existing facilities, they just talked about what we have. Yeah, go on to the next slide. This is just our inventory. Right, a lot of our system is very small footprint compared to the whole town limits. Right, see the colored lines, yeah. And then go to the next one. Next one. This is how they started projected the growth. We just told them where we think the parcel will basically develop. Most of it's to the west. And they're recommending in here a third water tower, so that's definitely gonna end up being a side, and a third water treatment plant. So I think we'll have to make a decision whether to expand the new water treatment plant or put in a third water treatment plant on the west side. Of course, that's dependent on what wells aquifers we can find out there and put the wells in. Or we end up doing both, doubling the size of the plant to the new plant, and then also building a third. Then this slide is the might come to Jesus slide when they presented to me about a month ago. Us about a month ago. So let's go to the one on the right. Based on general rules for storage capacity, it says that we're past due for a water tank next year. The purple at the bottom, do you have the pointer? So the line at the bottom is the projected demand. Okay. And then help me out, Denise, you're the one with the better memory. Then the aqua line, the next line up is the
It's
peak
just
demand.
It's just kind of what that projected need in the growth, they kind of double it instead by 1.5%.
Yeah, so that's the
throughout the
peak,
next,
right?
Yes. Mhm.
And then, so, based on that, the orange line at the bottom is when you need a water tank. So if you add pumping capacity with a new plant or double the existing plant, then that actually drops. Because you have pumping capacity and your storage capacity, think fire flow, yeah, right? So if you look at that, our critical point is right here where they said we need a 1.2 million gallon, water tower. If I remember right, it was next year, right, 25, 26. It's hard to read,
Yeah.
and then this is just
Maybe
the,
28, maybe.
was it 28? And then, the slide on the left is just the demand, which is some of the same stuff on the right. Bottom purple is demand, pick up projected growth, next line up. Bottom, that aqua is peak. Do you remember what the squiggly one was on top? I can't read it.
So does IDEM
The,
have an opinion then? I mean, they're gonna, at some point, if you're at a certain capacity, they're gonna say development can't happen unless you've got. Are they, and again, I'm learning here, cause I know they,
No.
cause I know they do that. I don't know how
Good question.
municipal,
Waste treatment, you get to 80%, you have to build on.
yeah, I mean, it's not even in your hands at
But
that.
they're different, so. We don't have to,
I guess we wouldn't have to supply water.
you don't have to supply water, but you do, you have
We
to
have to
treat
su-
water.
Well,
That's the difference in. We're not under the IURC.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, and it's a very good thing because we're a municipal owned water and years ago they had to make a decision back when they established the IURC and the town opted out. And we follow the municipal water and municipal electric rules.
That's okay. I just, I mean, obviously Pendleton's growing. We all live here. It's
Well,
gonna be a need. They're gonna.
yeah,
have needs.
so one of the disinformation things that the people who, when others brought up the merger issue, they said, you're gonna make us hook up, you just want customers. I'm like, no. You have no idea. The last thing you wanna do is make people hook up. Yeah. You want developers to hook up, but you don't want individual homes. You don't want to run miles of main just for 100 customers. So anyway.
that blue line is the, peak at 20 hours of operation.
Oh, yeah. So the ideal situation is your plant's offline for 4 hours a day. And so that's what your capacity needs to be for treatment. Okay. And then let's go on. Alternatives considered, let's look at that laundry list.
Here.
Just keep clicking. Keep clicking. Keep clicking.
Funding.
Project need. Okay, that's the high priority is all the red. That's lines that I think is a combination of possible lead and, okay,
Unknown, the age of homes.
yeah, and then, but Donnie and the guy said they went several years ago, they went through and replaced a lot of lead lines. Okay, keep going down. These are the mains that probably need to be replaced. The red or the priority. That's not because they're lead, they're just old. And then, we need to separate the chlorine and fluoride treatment at the new old water treatment plant. Okay, keep going. Recommended repairs and upgrades. We've already started, we've already got, I think we've got bids to wash the power wash of the outside of the tanks, the mold's growing on. Internal tank repair. Going. Keep going. Future projects, those are the ones I listed are the recommended we talked about, which would bring it to 69. Or the 70 something, we didn't have any grants, and then, so these are real big costs. Doubling plant number 2, adding a future water treatment plant west side of 69. And then more storage plants. Keep going. Okay, and then we got into that next. I think that's pretty much all. So we do have some hard decisions coming up. And having to spend some money, and there's no two ways about it.
Well, we could maybe do some creative mapping out to the west and get a line here and wait for this parcel to develop and have a developer.
Yeah, the water mains, our whole strategy on the water mains are the developers put out the mains, we do the water main extension.
Put some of the burden on those guys.
Yeah, we'll put it all on them, and then, of course, they can recapture that with a surcharge on the users. So 1,000 homes goes in, we build a main out to that, but yet it'll service another 2,000 homes in the future, then eventually all 3,000 homes are paying that developer back interest over time for that main extension. That's gonna be our strategy. So mains, now old main replacement, that's gotta be on the rate payer. We're not allowed, just so you know, we're not allowed to make a profit or anything like that. We can put money away for capital projects. But we're not allowed to lose money either, because then you're subsidizing with taxpayer money. Keep rates low. A lot of towns do this, they're probably breaking the law. And because you're not approving tax dollars to subsidize. Approving tax dollars to subsidize utilities. So somebody who's on a well, his tax dollar is going to subsidize lower rates. I don't think that's somewhere that's illegal.
It'd be interesting to see how our water rates compare to others, because Baker Tilly did a rate study for Fall Creek. We're cheap.
Yeah, we're cheap too.
I mean, there's,
Even with the new rate, we didn't do a rate, last rate, it was increase, it was for both, electric and water. One had been done for 20 years, and one was
15.
15.
shoot, there's people paying 75 up, it's $100 just for sewer. That's just for sewer.
Yeah, that's,
Fort Wayne is one of the highest.
I think, SRF and Okra even, I mean, that's their target, RD. I mean, it's like 75, 80 bucks. I think you gotta be there before they'll loan you cheap money.
Yeah, if your rates are too low, they will
They
not
won't
lend
do
you
it.
money.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
the days of $40, $50 water and wastewater bills are
Yeah,
gone.
the same with stormwater. Ours was at $4, and that was below the minimum rate you could get in an SRF. And then people also, they'd rather see the stair step rate increases like every 2 years or whatever versus one big one, even though the one big one in the long run meant they paid less. So it's an emotional versus a logical decision. Right.
So what is the philosophy of town of Pendleton on rates? Is it,
Well, every 2 years.
okay, no, I think that, I mean, you see, it's like back in the 60s when the schools consolidated, there was a day where that came across the state or the country. And I think you're seeing it now. I mean,
Yeah,
look at Knightstown, look at even Markoville. I mean, they're all,
yeah,
they've not raised rates and now they're paying for it.
yeah. So we have a new financial advisor, so they will do this. For water and electric, they will do a continual report to us. And part of that is an easy plug and chug on what the new rate should be. Right? So
when I think if you do, a 2 or 3 year rate plan, at least everybody knows, I mean.
Right.
Put it out there and then it's just a continuous, that makes a lot of sense in modern day, I think.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Very good. George, have any questions? Comments? No, anymore?
I don't.
Any adjourn?
Thanks for